What's up, legends? Benchmark Bets is back, and today we've got a huge Super Saturday with 3 AFL games on the board. And you already know what we're doing. Breaking down every match, giving you the prediction on the winner, prediction on the total, and of course, the best player props that I'm loving. So, buckle up, I've done the homework. Let's hit these and stack these wins. So, let's start with the first game of the day between the Tigers and the Gold Coast Suns. And honestly, I am going to be leaning towards the Suns to win comfortably and to win by 40 plus. Just the difference between these two teams is substantial. So the Tigers are pretty much in a rebuild phase at the moment, have a lot of young guys and a lot of inexperience compared to the Suns, where they are one of the premiership favourites and also are pretty much complete. Their team is complete. Very good defense, very good forward line, and their midfield is lacking a bit, but that's due to Rao being out. But still, their midfield is pretty elite as well. So the Suns should own the Tigers pretty easily here tomorrow. And then in terms of the total, they have it set at 190.5, and honestly, I am going to go with the under here. So the Tigers only scored 71 against the Blues, who have been playing very bad recently. So in order for this to even go close to 190, the Suns will need to score at least 130, 135, and they do have the capability of doing it, but I just don't see them doing it against the Tigers. They did score 131 against West Coast, but I'd say West Coast is a bit worse than the Tigers at the moment. And that was at home as well. This game's played at the MCG. It's a bit of a different sort of game. So obviously for the Suns at home, they know what they're doing there. They know exactly where to go through, whereas MCG, not as much. If we look at previous games between the Tigers and the Suns at the MCG, they only won by 28 points, but that was 2 years ago, and the Suns are way different compared to then. But I'm still leaning towards under 190.5. However, a nice little pivot will be to go with the Tigers under 77.5. So like I was saying before, then he scored 71 against a shitty Blues, and I don't expect them to be able to score 78 points against this Suns team. This line is a bit too high for my liking, especially with how much they scored against the Blues and how their scoring was inaccurate. Well, not the scoring really, just Lynch was inaccurate in front of goals. So yeah, nice little pivot is Tigers under 77.5, and I lean towards the under game total. And in terms of player props, I'm going to do something a bit different here. So our premium has been doing very, very well with same game multis. So I'm going to give you a same game multi for this game. So the first leg I'm going to go with is from the Suns, Will Powell for 14 plus disposals. So in his last 2 games, he's been playing at least 75% or more CBAs, and I expect him to play close to that, especially with Rao out. He should resume as one of their main midfielders, and they love the ball in his hands. So 15 disposals. So 15 disposals for Powell. Should be pretty easy here for him today. Then for the second leg, I'm going with John Noble for 19 disposals. So very elite ball user, especially out of defense, can get them going. Very, very well. He's only gone under 19 in 2 games out of the last 26 games. So that's very good. The only negative here is that it is a bit of a tough matchup for defensive ball users against Richmond. However, that's because the Tigers haven't been able to get it forward. So I can see John Noble definitely racking it up here today. Then for the third leg, I am liking, from the Tiger side, Sam Banks for 14 disposals. So he's only gone under this line in 1 game out of his last 22. They really like the ball in his hands. Very nice young player. Should take over the role from Jaden Shorts soon as the main guy rebounding from defense. Very elite footwork, very young and promising player for the Tigers, and 14 disposals should be pretty easy here for him today. And then the fourth and final leg will be back on the Suns, and I'm going with Christian Petracca over 23 disposals. So he's only gone under this line in 4 games in his last 25 games, which is elite already. Yeah, pretty much best player for the Suns by far at the moment. Not only in front of goals, also in the midfield. It's just a bull. Playing his best footy since he's left the Dees, where he wasn't enjoying life. But now he's just pretty much racking it up, like Will. So yeah, Christian Petracca for 23 disposals. That multi is giving us a total of 1.72 odds. So I'm going to stick 1.5 units on that. Then, for the second game of the day, between the Giants and the Saints. And I'm honestly going with the Giants here to beat the Saints, and should beat them pretty comfortably. But $1.56 for the Giants to beat the Saints, that's a pretty good price already. But it should be between 1 to 39. Don't expect it to be a blowout here. In terms of lineups, nothing really intriguing for the Giants, obviously, because they got no one in or out. But for the Saints, they brought back Rowan Marshall and also Liam Stocker, and omitted Isaac Keeler and Jack McRae. So Jack McRae has, I think he has a shoulder injury or something like that. So, but not missing much with him. He's just washed at the moment. And Isaac Keeler is a young and promising forward for them. So he just needs some time in the twos, and he should be able to come back pretty easily. But yeah, the Giants should definitely easily win this game. And in terms of the total, I have it set at... What have they got it set at? 183.5, and honestly, I like the over here. So, Giants have been scoring very, very good. Except for last week against the Doggies, but the Doggies are playing out of their mind. The Giants, yeah, definitely should go over this 183.5 Queensland. It'll be a nice free-flowing game. Very, very easy goals come by. Heaps of rebounding defensive 50, especially from the Giants side, where the Saints just absolutely leak disposals to at the moment. Let's look at... I want to look at total points for these teams. So the Giants have their total at 96.5. Yeah, that's a bit too high. What about the Saints? Saints at 85.5. Could actually lean the under for the Saints as well. Like, obviously, I know they scored 107 against the Dees, but they only scored 66 against the Pies, and the Pies haven't been that hot. So I reckon under 85.5, but the Saints could be a nice little play as well. And in terms of multis, I'm going with 4 players. So I'm going with Joe Fonte for 15 disposals. So Joe Fonte has been very, very good for the Saints. Very good, very, very good for the Giants so far this season. He's their third best ball user from defense. Obviously, Whitfield and Lockie Ash are their main guys, but Joe Fonte is an up-and-coming young guy for them. Like I was saying before, the Saints do leak heaps of disposals to defenders. They leak the 4th most to defenders in general, and also the 4th most disposals overall. So Fonte for 15 should be pretty easy here today. Then we got Marcus Windhager for 19. One of the main guys for the Saints midfield at the moment. Obviously there's Sam Flanders and Nasai Wangani-Malera, but I really do like Marcus Windhager. He's only gone under this line in 4 games in the last 25 games. So doesn't get much attention, can rack up the pill pretty easily. The Giants do give all the 6th most amount of disposals overall. They are pretty neutral for midfielders, but I can see Windhager definitely getting 19 disposals here. In terms of CBAs for Windhager, I'm pretty sure he's one of the top players. Yeah, so he got 58% last week, and especially without Jack McRae, he should be able to get a bit more. So I reckon him to be about the 60-65% mark. Should be one of the main midfielders in there, actually. So, yeah, Windhager for 19 is my second leg. Then for the 3rd and 4th leg is Clayton Oliver and also Finn Callaghan. So Clayton Oliver for 20, pretty much a no-brainer. It's only been under this line in 2 out of the last 24 games. So obviously last year he was playing for the Dees, but this year he's been obviously playing for the Giants, and the Giants are without Tom Green at the moment, so they're going to need Clayton Oliver in the midfield for a lot of it. In terms of CBAs for Clayton Oliver, he's getting the most for them, pretty much. Loves being around the pill. His handball game's elite. Kicking not as bad, but handball is elite. So yeah, Clayton Oliver for 20. And then obviously Finn Callahan for 22. So 56% CBA is a bit down from opening round, but that should creep back up to the 70s in this game. He has gone under this line only in 2 games out of the last 23. So should definitely rack up the pill. He's gotten 26 and 27 in his last 2 games, and that was against better opponents than the Saints in this one. So yeah, Finn Callahan for 22. That's multi giving us a total of $1.80, which is very good odds for that. And then the third and final game of the day between the Dockers and the Dees. And I rate the Dockers here to beat the Dees at home. In terms of lineups, nothing really going on for the Dockers. Obviously, Hayden Young is out with an injury, and they are debuting a guy who's just come onto their list. I think it was like definitely just after the start of this year. But yeah, nice little promising lad. Let's see if he does pretty good. Hopefully he stays in the team for a bit. But yeah, Dockers to beat the Dees here easily. In terms of the total, they have a set at 192.5, and honestly, I expect that to go under. So the Dockers only scored 100 against Geelong, but the Dees are going to need to score at least 80, 85. They did score 120 against the Saints, but like, that wasn't convincing. So I reckon this goes under 192.5. Let's look at team totals, see what they are being listed at. If Freo is under 100, might definitely take that. 105.5, yeah, I knew it was going to be over. So, nah, I want to touch that Freo total. Honestly, that Dees total for 84.5, that could be nice. Definitely consider taking that. So yeah, my leans are obviously under in the total, but then over the Dees total. And in terms of player props, do another multi here. So I'm going with Jordan Clark and Christian Salem, both get 19 disposals. So both are pretty much ball users from defense for both teams. So Jordan Clark has a good matchup here. These allow the most amount of disposals to defensive ball users, and also the most disposals in general. He is trending a bit down. He only did get 19 last week against the Cats, but he just looked a bit down in that game, so I expect him to bounce back, especially at home. When he's played at home, he is over this line in 13 out of 14 games. So that's a very good track record. And then for Christian Salem to go 19 for 19 disposals. So yeah, he has also a very decent matchup here today. Freo give up the 6th most amount of disposals to defensive ball users. They do give up the 15th least disposals in general, but I don't think that's going to matter much here, especially with it being at Optus Stadium, where it's a huge ground, a lot of room to move around. Just being one of the main ball users for the Dees since Bowie is out at the moment, and also Stephen May has retired. So yeah, Christian Salem to get 19 disposals here should be pretty good. And then the last 2 legs is Caleb Winsor and also Murphy Reid, both for 15 plus. So we'll look at Caleb Winsor first. So his role has completely changed this year. The last year he was used more on the wing, but now he is one of the main midfielders for the Dees. Currently for CBAs for Winsor, he is at 56%, which is a very, very high for him at the moment, especially compared to last season. So yeah, if Caleb Winsor for 15 disposals should be pretty easy for him today. And then finally, the last player is from the Freo side, going with Murphy Reid for 15 disposals. So without Hayden Young in the lineup, expecting Murphy Reid to play a lot more in the midfield today. His CBAs have been a bit low in recent games. Obviously only getting the 41% in last week's match against the Cats. However, I expect that to increase to about a 50-55%, and that definitely should be enough for him. He also loves to rack the ball up in the forward half as well, so he should definitely get that 15 very easily. And then that multi is giving us a 1.72 odds. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. Like I've been saying in the last few videos, this is a new segment for me. The main reason why I'm doing this is because I have 23 years experience in AFL and I want to give back to you guys, and also want to see you guys winning as well. So if you're loving the videos, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on any of these sort of videos. Until next time, stay safe, good luck with your bets, gamble responsibly, and I'll catch you in the next video. Laters.